Okay.
Patrick McTee.
Here.
Eugene Ellis.
Here.
Chadwick Maxey.
Here.
Blaze McGinley.
Here.
Doug Reynolds.
Here.
Carrie Villano.
Here.
Carrie. And Howard Nelson, I'm here. Bridget, do we have a quorum?
We do. Would you like to, I would like to at least know if the alternates are also here?
So, Ms. Eichner, are you here?
I'm here.
Mr. Lambrex, are you here?
Here.
Mr. Falkinger, are you here?
I am here.
I think they're all here, notwithstanding the fact that I can see all of them.
Wonderful. Thank you.
We have a full board. You guys can, in the words of the Clash, stay or go as you like. But, you know, we're going to move forward. I'm going to call the City of Fort Lauderdale Board of Adjustment meeting of March 10th, 2021 to order. Mr. Maxey, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And I'm going to actually stand here.
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Chadwick, you did nail it. Thanks very much. So the City of Fort Lauderdale is hosting the Board of Adjustment meetings in both a virtual and in-person format. Any member of the public that is interested in speaking before the Board of Adjustment virtually is required to complete the virtual speaker card. Any member of the public that is interested in speaking before the Board of Adjustment in person may sign up to speak at the meeting or by using the virtual speaker card. Due to COVID-19 distance requirements, there is very limited seating available. Therefore, we are encouraging members of the public to participate virtually whenever possible. The public will be able to listen to and view Board of Adjustment meetings at www.fortlauderdale.gov/FLTV, as well as on the City of Fort Lauderdale's YouTube channel, which is City of Fort Lauderdale, on Comcast Channel 78 and AT&T Universe Channel 99. To participate in the meeting, you can fill out the virtual meeting form on the citywide website at the Board of Adjustment page. Individuals who wish to speak will be heard prior to the close of public comment period on each individual item. If you have trouble signing up, please email Shaquila Crawford Williams at ccrawford@fortlauderdale.gov. Any caller that is unidentified will not be provided with access to the meeting. So please provide your name and address. Note, if you would like to share a document, please upload the document when submitted a request to speak. Participants to the meeting, please remember to mute your phones and/or computers if you are not speaking and silence any other electronic devices so we do not hear interference. We've taken roll call of the board members present. We have a quorum. We've done the Pledge of Allegiance. We have the minutes of our February Board of Adjustment meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I've got a motion to approve from Ms. Ellis and a second by
Blaze McGinley.
By Mr. McGinley. Any comments, questions, modifications, deletions, additions, alignments, spelling corrections? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Please show unanimous approval. Okay. Each member of the public that wishes to speak after each item is presented and discussed by the board will have 3 minutes per item. Representatives of associations and groups will have 5 minutes. I'd like to do a little bit, excuse me, of reordering of the agenda. Prior to beginning, I asked the agent for our first agenda item if she would mind letting us hear the deferral item for our second item by Mr. Crush. She indicated she did not have a problem. So, Mr. Crush, you have a request of the board?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Jason Crush with Crush Law on behalf of the applicant. And I did transmit a request to Shaquila, which I think she shared with some of the board members. We would like to request a deferral to the April meeting. We're continuing discussions with one of our immediate neighbors that we share part ownership with our parking lot with, and it affects this application.
Is there a motion to defer?
I would like to make a motion to defer case number PLN BOA 21020002
To the April board meeting?
to the April board meeting.
And Mr. McGinley, that was you, correct?
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Gina Ellis.
Gina Ellis is a second. Any discussion by the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Please show unanimous approval.
Thank you all.
All right.
See you next
Have a
month.
good night, Mr. Crush.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Armada, you're on, and let's swear anybody in for that item. Bridget, do you want to take care of that?
I will. Anybody that is going to speak, I guess, including the public, but we're going to wait really unmute them as there. Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Let's go do
Disclosures.
let's go do disclosures. Mr. McTeague,
None.
Ms. Ellis,
They're ready for
Site
you.
visit.
Share, and then
can whoever's speaking in the background please mute their phone?
there you go from there.
There we go. I'm sorry, Ms. Ellis, did you say
Site visit.
site visit? Mr. Maxey,
None.
Mr. McGinley,
Site visit.
Mr. Reynolds,
None.
Mr. Villeneuve,
None.
and I have none. Ms. Armada, the floor is yours. You can take some of the walls and the chairs if you want to, but the floor at least is yours.
Thank you. I'm not entirely sure how to work this.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm off to a good
That's
start.
okay. Wing it, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, board. My name is Christy Armada. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, 2426 East Los Olas LLC. It's the owner of the property located at 2426 East Los Olas Boulevard. The property is located in the 2400 block of East Los Olas, located just west of the Intercoastal Bridge. The property is currently utilized as a law office. The law office is of Olive and Judd, PA. It also is my employer. The applicant is seeking to expand its conference room. Specifically, it would like to relocate the exterior wall to the west of the front door, 2.25 feet from the property line. This renovation would result in an additional 57 square feet of space to its existing conference room. Currently, the conference room is too narrow for comfortable use, and we're having difficulty accommodating our handicapped clients within the conference room, thus the request for variance and construction. The property was acquired by the applicant in 2013. At the time, the finished floor elevation was well below the requirements of the city of Fort Lauderdale. And as a result, the property owners were experiencing significant flooding due to in the event of hurricanes or rain events or king tides, situations we are accustomed to and well familiar with in the city of Fort Lauderdale. The applicant renovated the property and focused its renovations on significantly raising the elevation of the property to meet the city of Fort Lauderdale's code requirements. In the renovation process, it also moved this exterior wall, which was, I'm showing you a slide of the facade to the west of the front door. wall previously existed along the property line. And what you see now is a planter wall and the overhang. In the renovations, we pushed the window wall back to the setback and created this planter and this green space. The front door of the property and all of the facade to the east of the front door remains on the property line. And what we are seeking to do, again, is to move the window panels, the wall with the window panels, into the planter 2.25 feet from the property line, requesting a variance of 2.75 feet. The city code currently requires a setback of 5 feet. The planter wall as it exists right now is on the property line, and the overhang with the Olive and Judd sign is very close to the property line as well. The only recessed element is the wall with the window panes. The City of Fort Lauderdale Code, pursuant to the ULDR, a variance shall be granted upon demonstrating a unique hardship attributable to the land by providing the criteria set forth in 47-24. The applicant in its narrative addressed each of these criteria individually, and I submit that the criteria granting variance established by the ULDR were all satisfied. The first of which is a special condition and circumstances affecting the property at issue which prevent the reasonable use of the property. The building was constructed prior to the imposition of the 5-foot setback by the zoning code. The north walls of the other buildings within the block are similarly located on the property line. Here is a picture that will show you how all of the north walls on the block are situated on the property line. The applicant moved the northwest window wall 5 feet from the property line in order to install the planter, losing 103 square feet of usable space. The relocated facade wall resulted in a significant decrease of building square footage and resulted in an irregularly shaped conference room, the size of which does not permit for comfortable use. The proposed planter width of 2.5 feet can accommodate the same type of plant material that there's currently in its place. The requested variance would increase the property by a total of 57 square feet. The enforcement of the 5-foot setback is a special condition and circumstance as it relates only to the applicant. The applicant is the only property owner on the 2400 block affected by its enforcement. Criteria B requires that we establish that the circumstances which cause the special condition are peculiar to the property at issue. This property, when acquired, was susceptible to frequent flooding events. To remedy those hazards, the applicant raised the elevation and added the planter to add a green element to the Las Olas Street. Moving the northwest wall 5 feet into the property line from its original position resulted in the reduction of the building square footage, and it produced an irregularly shaped conference room, the size of which doesn't permit the comfortable use thereof. We've furnished it with a conference room and with the chairs necessary to accommodate a proper conference, but we just can't use it because there isn't space to move the chairs out from under the table. Criteria C requires that the literal application of the provisions of the ULDR would deprive the applicant of a substantial property right that is enjoyed by the other property owners in the same zoning district. The main reason for the front setback requirement, although not expressly stated in the ULDR, is to establish a uniform development pattern along the roadway. And as I've established in my presentation and in the pictures that I've presented to you, all of the neighboring buildings sit on the property line. Enforcing the setback requirement against the applicant's property would create a disparity between the other buildings on the block and the applicant's building. Criteria D requires that we establish that a unique hardship was not self-created. The hardship we propose was created by the fact that the building was initially constructed in 1955, prior to the adoption of the city's ULDR. At the time that the building was constructed, there was apparently no setback requirements. The applicant didn't construct the initial building, and given the location of the building situated on the 2400 block, the setback requirement, as it applies only to the applicant, is a hardship unique to the applicant. Criteria D requires us to establish that the variance is the minimum variance we are requesting. The requested variance is the minimum variance necessary to make the reasonable use of the improvements. We are asking for a variance of 2.75 feet into the setback. The requested variance will not disrupt the uniform development pattern of Las Olas, as all of the surrounding buildings are currently situated on the property line. And the planter wall and the overhang will not be relocated. In fact, the wall will come out into the planter, narrowing the planter, and could possibly not be noticeable at all to anyone walking the sidewalk on Las Olas. The requested variance will not be incompatible with the adjoining properties, as all of the adjoining properties are currently situated on the property line. And if granted, this variance will be in harmony with the general purpose of the ULDR. That is a picture of what the building currently looks like. And again, as I previously mentioned, it is our plan to bring those two windows on the wall into the planter, 2.25 feet from the property line. We have spoken with our landscaper, and the reduction in the width of the planter will not affect the viability of the use of that green space. So we request that the Board of Adjustment approve our request for variance.
Right, Ms. Armada, do you want to reserve any time for rebuttal or additional closing?
Yes, I'll reserve.
Okay, so let me go around the board before we open up the public hearing, see if there are any board questions. Mr. McTeague?
I don't
any
have
questions of Ms. Armada or staff?
I don't at this time, no.
Ms. Ellis?
I do have a couple of questions,
Have at it.
if I can. So
Yes, ma'am.
as I'm observing the property and there for information purposes only, it appears that the west wall is about a foot further out than the east wall. Is that correct?
It is my understanding that it's on the property line. We have not altered the west wall line, and the proposed construction does not include any renovations related to that section of the building.
Understood. My question is, if I ran a straight line from the east wall to the west wall, they are in line with one another. There is no inset, there's no setback. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question. The west wall is on the property line.
Where's the east wall?
The east wall is on the property line, you mean, right?
The east wall is on the property line. The west wall is on the setback. The planter wall is on the property line.
But the conference room windows are 5 feet off the property line.
That's correct. That's correct.
So I guess I'm speaking to the planter wall.
The planter wall is on the property line.
Okay, in observing your pictures, they are not in a straight line. That's what my question was. Okay.
I'm sorry, I can submit or circulate the survey, which could add some clarity to that.
Why don't you just put it up on the screen? Ms. Ellis, do you have another question while she's putting that up on the screen?
I don't know.
Actually, no, I think I would have gone for the full distance without putting yet smaller planter in there, but not my choice.
We haven't gotten there yet.
That's what I said, not my choice.
We haven't gotten there yet. I'm a little amazed by the decision to move it back 5 feet originally, but that's
survey. I don't know where, I don't have it.
Okay. Mr. Maxey, any questions?
None.
Mr. McGinley?
None, but that east wall is 1.25 feet from the property line.
Yep.
Per the survey.
Thank you.
So that's my foot disparity that I was referring to.
I apologize for getting that wrong, but we are not asking to move the planter line. We want to leave the planter wall where it is, and we're just asking to move the window panel wall into the planter.
Understood.
Got it. Mr. Reynolds?
No questions.
Mr. Villeneuve? No questions. I'll take the head shake as no questions. I have a question for staff. Mr. Malik?
Yes, Chair.
Do you have any idea when the setback changed in that to a 5 foot? Because there are whole sections of that street that are at 0 setback on Las Olas.
We are just checking. Give us a second.
Okay.
Just for FYI, when I spoke with the architect when I was writing this up, just to give a clarity, originally the wall was in line with the west wall, and I think when they bought it to beautify or to make it look better, they pushed it back. Now, since it's in compliance with 5 foot, now to come out, that's why they're asking. And they have a problem with the handicap, and that's why they don't want to come back 5 feet out to the original. They still want to keep the planter, but to make it workable for the ADA compliance, they want to use it. So that's
was the pop out of the planter wall to the property line, which I think I was hearing from Mr. McGinley was probably about 1.25 foot pop out. Was that permitted by the city?
Yeah, the whole building was permitted by the city.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't have any more questions. Why don't we open it up for public comment? Any members of the public who have registered to speak on this?
No, Chair.
In that case, let me close the public comment portion. And Ms. Armada, I'm going to ask if you have any closing remarks before I turn it over to the board for discussion and possibly a motion.
I have nothing further. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Great. So board, any discussion items? I mean, I will tell you personally, and I think Ms. Ellis said it before me, I wouldn't mind if they went right back up to the street to that 1.5 foot off, but that's their decision. I've got no problem with them moving it back halfway from where they started.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with moving it all the way up to the street because I don't believe it addresses the intent of the actual setback. But being that it is, they're asking for not the whole thing. I mean, I do respect that.
So any other discussion, or is someone ready with a motion? Mr. Vice Chair?
I would make a motion to approve the applicant's request.
For a variance of the front yard setback because it meets the requirements of the UDLR for the issuance of a variance?
Yes, and because it's, less than what is a standard out there along that corridor right there too, yes.
Right, so we've got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by?
Blaze McGinley.
Mr. McGinley. If without further discussion, Bridget, can you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Vice Chair McTeague?
Yes.
Ms. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Villeneuve,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Maxey,
Yes.
Chair Nelson.
Yes. Motion
Thank you.
passes unanimously. Ms. Armada, nice presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Enjoy the duck you're about to grill.
There we go. All right. Any communications to the City Commission? Because that is our entire agenda.
Board,
Ms. Ellis, I thought I heard you mention a discussion item that we should bring to the commission. Do you want to bring it back up now?
It's a commission. I'm not sure it's a commission discussion.
I think the commission sets the time of this board meeting. I'm not sure.
Nope. So,
No?
and I'll defer
We
to
do?
Dwayne. I defer to Dwayne. The discussion was that the 6:30 time is an awkward time between a work and a dinner hour, and could it possibly be moved to 6 p.m.?
It could, the Planning and Zoning Board made a similar request, and that change was done by the City Commission. In this case, I believe that the ULDR provides for the time that this board meets, and so it would require that code change.
Would require a code change. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Well, so
could we
Gina,
bring
I
that
think
up?
that would be an item to bring up to the commission.
So I was going to say, would you please transmit that perhaps if everyone
Well,
else?
let's make sure we've got unanimity among the board members. Mr. McTeague?
I would support it.
Ms. Ellis, I'm not even going to ask you. I know you'll support it. Mr. Maxey?
Support.
Mr. McGinley?
Support.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, support.
And Mr. Villeneuve?
I term out in May, so I don't really have an interest one with the other, but so if you guys want it, I'll go along with it.
That would be great. And I support it as well. So we would ask staff if they could move that is a comment from the board to the city that we would like to change the meeting time from 6:30 to 6. I think it'll make it easier for applicants as well.
Yeah.
All right. Any other communication to the City Commission? Any communication from the City Commission?
Chair,
Yes, sir.
Malik, I just spoke with our director, Mr. Fajardo, Anthony, and the fence ordinance, we are working towards it, and we are expecting in April to go before the commission. And once it's okayed by the commission, then we can come back to you and, give you a presentation.
Will we be able to see the language that's going to the commission before it goes and gets voted on, so that we're not doing serial, hey, we really think you should do this instead?
I discussed this with our director. He said no. The first thing we have to present it to the commission, and then after the hearing we could have a discussion.
Okay, you might kindly suggest to Anthony that we would hate to be in a position of showing up at the City Commission as the Board of Adjustment and arguing against it if we're not in favor of the language. So maybe he might reconsider and pop the language around to us.
Mr. Chair, maybe
Yes,
a
sir.
more important
Yes, ma'am.
question is, we had provided some input through this board.
Right.
Can
We just
you
want to make sure it's incorporated.
I was going to say, is it possible to confirm that that was taken into the policy as it's being crafted?
Definitely, that is being taken into consideration of,
Good.
suggested. And it seems there are a few suggestions from the City Commission itself. So they are trying to.
Oh, good. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see it between first and second reading.
Sure.
Are you bringing it up as a code change, or are you bringing it up as a discussion item first before you move to code change?
I think it would be a code change. That's why I think it was already directed by the City Commission and the city manager to the director to change the code based on your recommendations.
Right. Okay.
Our recommendation wasn't a I don't think we recommended a specific resolution, though. I mean, we just recommended that it be addressed. So, I mean, I don't know if
there was some issues that we thought should be incorporated into it. I can't remember all of them.
But I mean, what I'm saying is like, so one solution would be that you measure the height from the raised property, right? So if a lot gets raised 2 feet, that you measure the 6 foot height from the raised property. But that's just one solution. I don't know what solution has been hit on here.
Right. So I guess we'll see. We just won't see it before it goes to the city commission, at least for first reading.
I mean, I share the concern that you already brought up. I guess I'm being redundant, but
no, I don't think that would necessarily be the case. That it goes to the planning and zoning board as a local planning agency for review, and it's open for public discussion and review at that time period. And I'm sure staff will do the necessary community outreach when it comes to the code change as well. But I guess
well, hopefully we're included as part of that community outreach.
Sure.
All right. Anything for the good of the city?
Mr. Chair, this is Bridget.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that a communication to the commission about changing the time to 6 o'clock?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I need it in a form of a motion and I need it to be seconded.
Okay, I think we can do that. Ms. Ellis, would you like to make a motion?
Board of Adjustments requests consideration for moving the time of its meeting from 6:30 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Period.
Motion.
Period. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
And Bridget, you've got Mr. McTeague as a second.
I got it, and you can do a voice vote. That'll be fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Show unanimous approval, please.
Thank you, sir.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much for your service tonight. I'm going to go grill some duck breast.